What's up, guys? Red Wolf here, and welcome to episode 1 of New York Giants franchise here on the channel. I decided to take a leap into Madden 25, and we're going to take over the New York Giants for a realistic, semi-realistic rebuild. Not everything we do in this series is going to be exactly what might happen in real life, but we're going to try to keep it as realistic as possible. And the only coach that could bring this team from the depths of the NFL is Eli Manning. Eli's taking a step away from the Manning cast to take over the Giants franchise that is really struggling as of late. We are going to start this franchise in the preseason of this year. We're not going to use the realistic results as of yet as we take a look at the roster. Dexter Lawrence is the star of this team. He is somebody we want to make sure we keep locked up for many years. We want him to win that Super Bowl several years down the road with the Giants. Andrew Thomas, Bobby Okereke, Brian Burns, Malik Nabers is the star rookie on this team. He's somebody we can build around. We just need to get a quarterback to throw him the football. Daniel Jones is not on the roster. We are using up-to-date rosters as he has been cut and released by the Giants. That is going to be priority number 1 as we head into the first offseason. We have some solid pieces. There are some players here that I think could contribute long-term, but we are going to have to find the franchise quarterback because Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito are not going to be able to get that job done. Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt. Bryce Ford Wheaton is also an intriguing prospect. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. He's rated 68 overall, but I think he is somebody who could develop into a role player for us. Again, Andrew Thomas anchors that offensive line. There's some decent talent along that line. Evan Neal is a former first-round pick who has not really developed like the Giants would have hoped. 2022, he was the number 7 overall pick. 2 picks before him was Kayvon Thibodeau with pick number 5. He's another player that has not really turned out like the Giants would have expected or hoped for, using that draft capital to bring him in. We're going to use Malik Nabers here, try to get him an extra skill point and maybe get some extra rookie snaps. He does have hidden development. We want to see him get that superstar and develop into a superstar X factor. Malik is having some trouble getting open here. Good coverage from the defender, but we're able to use the stick. We're getting open, getting those 400-point catches so that we can get gold. I'm really looking for in this series is to build the defense around the big 3, Dexter Lawrence, Bobby Okereke, and Brian Burns. You got a guy on the defensive line, a couple linebackers. I think that we could build around them. And there's also some pieces in the secondary, some young guys who could be worked around. Tyler Nubin was a second-round pick this year as a rookie. A couple years ago, they did select Cordell Flott, who does have good development in this game. He's somebody that could lock down in that secondary. But our main priority, our main goal this season is going to be to tank. We're not going to look to win a lot of games. We know Drew Lock is going to be the starting quarterback for the entire season, and I do not expect us to win many games with him back there. There are some pieces that might be able to get some things done. Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Okereke, Malik Nabers. I really want to see Nabers develop so that when we get that star quarterback, he's ready to go and the quarterback can rely on him. We want to draft the quarterback, hopefully with a high first-round pick. We really don't expect to win many games, and we do want that high first-round pick to hopefully draft a quarterback. Things are going to get worse before they get better for the Giants. They can't really get much worse than how they've gone in real life this season. So to expect us to do well in Madden really just would not be realistic. With the draft, we do want to build depth with that. We want to make smart free agent acquisitions as we take a look at who's available. But we don't really want to go out and spend a ton of money early, as we are not going to be expecting to compete for the division at least for a couple seasons. The Eagles are going to be the class of the division for a long time. Jalen Hurts and that offense is going to be tough to beat. The Commanders have a young rookie quarterback who's looking like a superstar in real life. And then the Cowboys are going to be a little bit better in the game than they were in real life. Dak Prescott's always going to do well in Madden. So we have a couple years to work with some pieces to develop guys and hopefully win the division. We're going to take a look at some preseason games. I'm going to put all 3 preseason games here in this video. We're going to take a look at game 1 against the Lions in New York at MetLife Stadium. Jahmyr Gibbs getting a lot of carries early on, 5 for 13 yards so far, as Kayvon Thibodeaux gets the stop. And he's really somebody we want to develop really well. We need him to get better, as right now he is not very highly rated. Craig Reynolds gets into the end zone right there as we see the backup offense in for the Lions in quarter number 2. Hendon Hooker throwing that pass. That is a touchdown for the Lions to make it 14-0. Our first look at the Giant offense is Tommy DeVito at quarterback, and he finds Bryce Ford-Wheaton. That pass is complete to the receiver from Holly Springs, North Carolina, attending West Virginia. As we see Graham Gano on for the field goal attempt. Plenty of distance. It's right down the middle, and the kick is good. The Giants respond. It's 14-3 here in the second quarter. Back on offense, Tommy DeVito is back in at quarterback. He flips it down on the screen pass, and that's a pretty good gain out to the 36-yard line. Tommy DeVito has thrown for 75 yards. That's Eric Gray, the former 5th-round running back from 2023, on the screen pass. That pass gets broken up to Greg Dulcich. I really see Dulcich having a role player type season. Daniel Bellinger is another tight end who the Giants drafted a few years ago. Back in 2022, he was a 4th-round pick. That's something we've seen as guys that the Giants have drafted have not really developed in who they could be. Another catch for Bryce Ford-Wheaton. He has 3 catches for 40 yards in the first half of the first preseason game this season. As DeVito floats back looking for Gray again, there's a flag on the field. We'll see which way this goes. It's pass interference, hopefully on the defense. That should be a spot foul. It is, 13-yard penalty on the Lions. DeVito looking out right. There's Darius Slayton, but that ball gets undercut. It was a little bit late on the timing, and that's going to be a pick 6 for the Lions as they're going to take it all the way to the house to make it 28-6 here in the first half. Robertson undercuts that pass as Darius Slayton was running an out route, and the timing was just completely off there. DeVito was late delivering the football, and it gave Robertson the opportunity to pick it off and take it to the house. We would love to win these preseason games, but that's not the goal right now. We really want to see who might be able to contribute this season and in the future, guys who might step up and outperform their ratings. Bryce Ford-Wheaton is impressing early on. He's getting open. Tommy DeVito is able to find him. And possibly with a few years under his belt, Ford-Wheaton could develop into a wide receiver 2 or 3 role. Tyrone Tracy is another guy that the Giants have drafted. He was a 5th-round pick this year, so he's a rookie. And he's had a pretty good year so far in real life. And he could develop into a solid contributor in that running back room. We take another look here. DeVito is looking for Bryce Ford-Wheaton. He goes up and catches that pass down at the 1-yard line with 7 seconds left. And the Giants had an opportunity, but DeVito gets sacked with 4 seconds left in the half. With no timeouts, the clock is going to run out, and we head to the third quarter. As DeVito looks to the end zone, there's Tyrone Tracy, catches that pass, gets his feet down, and that's a touchdown for the Giants. Tracy displaying his ability. He was on a linebacker, got into the corner of the end zone, and DeVito was able to find him. That wasn't a bad pass from Tommy DeVito on the run, finding Tyrone Tracy, and he just does get his 2 feet down in bounds. With a few inches to spare, Tracy picks up the receiving touchdown, but that'll do it. The Lions dominate the Giants today, 38-13, and in Eli Manning's debut, the Giants don't really have much to show for it. Malik Nabers gets an upgrade. We really want to see him pick up a lot of skill points early. I'd like to see him get to 90 overall as quick as possible. Somebody we've talked about a lot today, Thibodeaux gets another upgrade. But we head to game 2. We're facing the Texans this time. We're going to Houston to face C.J. Stroud and that offense. Joe Mixon is a guy that we would have to look out for. This is the preseason, so we're not going to see Mixon, Stroud, Nico Collins, all those guys much. But early on, they will have opportunities. Devin Singletary, Drew Lock, we get to see those guys for the first time this preseason. It's a check down to Singletary, and Drew Lock has 48 yards on the first drive. First and goal now from the 9. Singletary gets the give, only picks up a couple. And Singletary, who's really somebody who's going to play for us a lot just because we don't have a ton in that running back room outside of Tracy. As we look here, as Manhurts catches the pass from Locke, that's a touchdown for the Giants. We take our first lead of the preseason. That's Chris Manhurts with the first touchdown for the Giants from Drew Lock. Finds Manhurts across the goal line, and the Giants take a 7-0 lead. The Texans are a team that I think could play well in Madden. C.J. Stroud is going to be very highly rated. Nico Collins is a good receiver. Their defense leaves a little bit to be desired, but it is encouraging to see the Giant offense move a little bit. Joe Mixon has 8 carries early in this first half. We're skipping around a lot. I'm really just playing the moments in these preseason games. As we get to the regular season, I'll put a couple games in each episode. I will play those all the way through. As we see C.J. Stroud find Tank Dell down at the 1. Mixon gets the carry from the 1, and he gets into the end zone to give the Texans a 10-7 lead. We're heading toward the end of the first half, and Joe Mixon is looking to replicate what he's done in real life. He high-fives the air, but he's going to make opposing defenses see ghosts if he plays like he does in real life. Flex is on the Giants, and we're heading down to inside 2 minutes. Devin Singletary on the screen is going to pick up the first down, Lock with another completion, and it's 10-7 with a minute and a half left. Finds Malik Nabers for a short gain of 6 yards. If you have Malik Nabers, guys like Wan'Dale Robinson, a former early draft pick for the Giants back in 2022, a second-round pick. Bryce Ford Wheaton, if he can develop at a 6'4", 220 pounds, he has a good frame. And we saw him go up and make a highly contested catch last week. Singletary on the play action, Lock in the pocket, is going to check it down to Singletary. He's going to try to make the cornerback miss, is unable to. And it's 2nd down and 13 from the 15-yard line. A little bit of a miscommunication with Manhurts and Locke right there as he looks to the end zone. That was a dangerous pass that could have been picked off, but luckily just gets batted down. As we head to the third quarter looking for Dulcich, that pass is broken up. Field goal is up and good. It's 13-10 now. 2:20 left in the third quarter. The backups are in for both teams as Patrick Johnson picks up another sack. He has 2 today as we see Davis Mills in at quarterback for the Texans. There is Daniel Bellinger, the first time we get to see him in action today. We are in the fourth quarter now, 5 minutes left in the game. Bryce Ford Wheaton with another catch, this time sliding down. And he picks up another one. He's into the end zone for a Giant touchdown. Bryce Ford Wheaton is really showing out in the preseason. He might make us rethink some plans with a couple of these receivers. Darius Slayton isn't a contract year, so instead of re-signing him, we might look to move him to see what kind of draft capital we could get. Tie game, 2:44 left. DeVito is in his own end zone, looking out over the left side. There is Malik Nabers. He gets all the way out to the 28. He has 4 for 67 in preseason game number 2. Gain of 22 on that play. Tyrone Tracy now slips by the D-tackle, picks up 6 yards, out to the 34. Before that carry, Tracy had 11 carries for 3 yards in the game as we see Bryce Ford Wheaton with another catch. That's 5 for 42, and he had that touchdown as well. Short game for Tracy as Tommy DeVito is looking to lead a game-winning drive here in the preseason. Finds Greg Dulcich for the first down all the way out to the 42-yard line. Under a minute now, DeVito looks over the middle for Dulcich again, but this time it gets broken up. Graham Gano has a target yard line of the 42, which is where we're sitting right now, as Tracy gets 0 yards on that carry. 3rd and 9 now. Dangerous pass is complete. Picks up 3. We end up winning that game 23-20. Kayvon Thibodeau picks up another skill point. He's up to a 79 overall. We want to see him continue to progress. We take a look at Malik Nabers getting hype for this inner city match between the New York Giants and the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium. The Jets will be the home team, and I really don't think we'll see a lot of Giant fans in the stands as they don't expect a lot to happen this season. The starters are in. Aaron Rodgers almost gets taken out by Brian Burns, but finds Garrett Wilson out across the right sideline into the end zone for a Jet touchdown. Tyler Conklin is there to celebrate with Garrett Wilson. Wilson was running free, nobody near him, and he has enough space to get into the end zone. Brian Burns whiffs on the sack. I don't think it would have made a huge difference. Maybe he could have prevented Aaron Rodgers from following through. But anyway, it is 7-0. The Giants have the ball. Drew Lock is looking for Malik Nabers. That pass is complete. He breaks the tackle, makes a move, and he gets down inside the 5 all the way to the 2-yard line. Tyrone Tracy on the give now. Gets it into the end zone, follows his block well. And it's a tie ball game, 7-7 as Tracy celebrates. It's a good run from Tracy. Really good blocking up front. Nobody there to bring him down on the 2-yard touchdown run. I really foresee maybe close to a 50-50 split between Singletary and Tracy. We do want Tracy to develop as he makes a tough catch in traffic. We've seen Tracy out of the backfield catch a few passes so far this preseason, and I think that's really where he could excel. Devin Singletary is the veteran, so he'll still be involved. As we see Drew Lock floated out to Chris Manhertz, and Tony Adams just undercuts that pass. A little too much air there as Graham Gano is now on for the field goal attempt. But it is quickly 28-10 as we head to the fourth quarter. 35-10 as the Jets score again. Tommy DeVito now in the game. RPO here to Gray. Gets the carry. And it's 4th and 2. The Giants just need to go for it and see what they can do. A bullet pass out to Dulcich, and that pass is complete down to the 5. Tommy DeVito hasn't played bad so far this preseason. He's making some plays on the run as he finds Jalen Hyatt. Hyatt was a 3rd-round pick from Tennessee in 2023 as the final goes to 35-17. I was wrong earlier. We did end up tying against the Texans. We missed the field goal. So we finished this preseason, no wins, 2 losses, and the 1 tie. I'm really not expecting much from this season. Our top goal, our top priority is probably to end up with a top 3 draft pick. That means we're going to be losing a lot of football games. We want Malik Nabers to develop. I'd like to see him get to an 85 overall, maybe eclipse 1,000 yards just due to the volume of targets. But with Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito as the options at quarterback, that may be a tall task. Cordell Flott ends up with a skill upgrade. He's a 77 overall. He does have star development, so he is somebody that we could look to build around in that secondary. The 3rd-round pick from 2022 does have a couple years under his belt. We take a look at the stats from the preseason. Tyrone Tracy ended with 31 carries for only 64 yards. Devin Singletary had just the 7 carries for 17. Bryce Ford Wheaton had 12 for 154. Malik Nabers finishes with 10 catches for 131 yards, and Greg Dulcich had 9 catches. Bryce Ford Wheaton is really a surprise this preseason. He's somebody I think I might use early. He's definitely outperforming his 68 overall rating. We see Patrick Johnson ends up with 3 sacks. We're going conservative. I'm only setting a goal of 4 wins this year. Like I said, I'm not expecting to win many games. If we get to 4, that might be a success. As we get our first look at the draft class for this year, we're going to target all of the top 10. Again, our main focus is going to be at quarterback. There are 3 quarterbacks in the top 10. We're just going to favorite most of these guys who are in the top 100. Taking a look at the tight ends, there are a few highly rated in the 2nd and 3rd round that we might end up looking at. But with so many holes on this team, we're going to have to find the best talent in each round. Right tackle is a definite strength of this class, as there are 4 right tackles in the top 12. Many others within the top 100. And that might be another position we can look to upgrade through the draft. I would like to see if we could trade up a couple of these picks to maybe get another 2nd round or 3rd round pick to pick up these depth pieces. We're just going through and favoriting guys who I think we could draft. That ends up being a lot of the players that we see on our board. But like I said, we're going to target those quarterbacks. We want to find a franchise quarterback, something that the Giants have not been able to do since head coach Eli Manning retired. If we can find a franchise quarterback, especially in year 1, that is really going to change the trajectory of this franchise. That's something we're missing. We need that centerpiece to build around. There's talent around the quarterback on the offense, but to have a 65 overall quarterback or a 61 overall quarterback in Tommy DeVito, Malik Nabers just deserves better. But we'll see how this year progresses. We'll see what kind of prospects there are. As we go into the season, what area of the team are we worried about the most? I think it's definitely going to be the offense. Again, with that quarterback being the way it is, it's going to be hard for the offense to put up points. Best part of our defense is going to be our run defense. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Bobby Okereke, these guys are superstars who are really going to be the backbone of our entire team. The secondary has some young guys who have talent, but those guys across the defensive line and our linebacking core are really going to have to set the tone for the entire team. So we take a look at guys who have expiring contracts: Adoree Jackson, Darius Slayton, Ajeez Olajari. We're going to look at trading Darius Slayton to see what we can get for him. There's a lot of options here. Teams are content to give us a player with maybe a pick or two. But something I'm really looking for is to improve our draft stock. We want to have as many draft picks as possible. So we're going to take a look at the Buffalo Bills' offer for us. We don't really need Casey Toohill. We're going to remove him from the deal. See if we can't get a better draft pick from them. Right now we have a 5th round 2027 draft pick, but I want to add a 2025 4th rounder this year. We'll see what they say as we submit the offer. And the Bills are going to accept that deal. We pick up 2 draft picks, one this year and one in the future. That does leave our wide receiver room a little bare, so we're going to sign KJ Hamler to provide some depth. He's on an expiring contract, so we don't really have a lot of stock in him. Week 1 will be next. I want to thank you guys for watching episode 1. This is my first new series since the NC State Dynasty on College Football 25. Week 1 will be against the Minnesota Vikings. A tall test as they are expected to win their division and could possibly be Super Bowl contenders. Please share this with your friends. Please comment, like, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time for Week 1. See you guys later.